Well, greetings, everyone. I'm Hawksblood here. I feel like my new image. I do. So, here's the thing, people. You know, everybody's in this world of their own belief systems, and their own truth. But I guess you're all afraid to look at something that you don't quite understand. So what I'm going to do is refresh myself. Now I can see you better. All right, people. I don't think you know the truth. So much for that idea. Well, it was an idea. All right. And we got a lot to get into today. You know, you've been following so many people all your life. And that's why I say, before you think what you see is real or hear, you need to face the facts, and we're going to get into them right now. All right, let's cut the music out too. That's kind of like annoying. All right, people, sorry about that. Well, now we're going to get into the truth. Before you run away, all right, which most people do, the second they hear the word truth, oh, well, that's somebody's truth. Well, we live on truth, people's truth, other people's truth. But what truth do you have of your own? Do you even have a clue? All right. When you looked at me, did you see a mask? Did you see a demon? Did you see an evil person? The same as black. What do you associate black with? Darkness, death. If I was wearing white, oh, I'm suddenly a student of Jesus? What would you relate to? Hold on a second. Sorry about that. You know, a lot of times when I go to do a show, so many things pop up instantly, causing me major problems. All right. What you see is programs. What you hear is programs. What you know and believe is mostly a program of ideas given to you. They were given to you the day you were born. Now, we're going to start as babies. What are you taught when you're a little child? Goo goo, gaga. What do you say ridiculous words to a child? That's supposed to help them learn something or communicate better because of their language. Uh, Children can learn to speak if they're given the opportunity to and given the wisdom about how to go about doing it. I didn't have a lot of good things on TV to watch, like Sesame Street and things like that, where children can learn incredible things rather fast. I couldn't even learn the alphabet. But when you're giving your parents ideas and programming, what do they teach children? Nothing important, first off. Second off, they give you programmed ideas about fake characters, which stay with you for many years. Not a day, not just a week, for years. Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Fairy Godmother, Tooth Fairy. All these things stay on a child's mind for a pretty long time. And they believe it over and over. It happens every year for Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, or they have a tooth pull, they put the tooth under the pillow, and they really believe something's going to put money there. Well, I'm not going to get into the money thing, but we're programmed at everything we do when we're little. Well, you should do this, you should do that. It's called programming, not what do you feel, what do you think. Now, I'm going to tell you this straight out. Children are gifted, very much gifted when they're born. And that gift slowly gets taken away because parents are too ignorant to understand what they're doing, what they feel, and what they know. Realize, we'll get into the brain in detail, but their little brain is not wrinkled yet. It doesn't have all these programmed ideas within it. So what it feels, what it thinks is pure, honest. I'm not going to go into this details outside of that. Like what's reincarnating into a baby and all that kind of stuff. But I want to get into that now. But I want to get into the average baby being born in a family, being programmed. And by the time they're 3 and they're learning to talk, what's the first word you're going to be programming your child to say? Daddy and mama, mommy, or whatever, right? Then what are you going to teach them? Car, food. Then what? What goes on beyond that? Oh, God's real. Do you put that in the child's brain or not? But if they're in a religious family, they're going to have to start going to church and listen to that. Programming. But when they're home, what does a parent say to their child? How many parents curse in front of their children? How many parents drink in front of their children? How many parents do drugs in front of their children? And then they accept it because they accepted it. The children have to learn to accept it. Then the other super horrible bad word is called sexual abuse, child abuse. How far does that go? You know, most families abuse their children. Why? Because they were programmed that way. Everybody doesn't want to be a bad person. Everybody doesn't want to beat their children, hit their children, or things like that. But we all were when we were little. But it was programming from their grandfathers that were programmed from their grandfathers. Now, if you want to deal with history goes a long way. All right, I got things I want to actually talk about that I actually wrote down, but I just want to make sure that I can get into a couple of things before we get there. All right, when you talk about history, men have always been evil. Evil! Since Atlantis, if you want to believe in Atlantis or not, was destroyed. Man has become warring creatures. And don't believe any other race was more spiritual, more smarter. And I'm not going to get into a battle over technology because technology is a losing battle. It doesn't make us better. It doesn't really help us. All right. So when we talk about history, what was the biggest thing in all of history? Gladiators. Every time frame, they had arenas where they put people out there killing each other. And even before that, they had animals, and they were fighting animals in front of these people. Even giraffes and things like that were brought into battle. Oh, I never saw a giraffe, but oh, he's fighting with it. I mean, the most ridiculous scenarios. Where did it come from? If I tell you the truth, would you listen? Probably not. I could tell you I'm going to get into some truth that you should listen to, but you probably won't. You think your programmed ideas are better. All right. When I mean programmed, what did you actually experience? And if you experienced it, how much did you prove of that was really important? And I'll get into that too, called death experiences, out of body experiences. Who you deal with, where you go is critical. Because in this world, which people don't want to understand or relate to, is the idea of demons, Satan, entities. All right, going back in the beginning, the first religion dealt with deities, not a god. They didn't call God God because there was no concept of a god. It was called deities. Before deities, it was animal worship, which still carries on to this day as well. But when you talk about what was your teachings, who was teaching you that? There's always somebody in the background giving you false information. People think because it's an old writing means it's important or true. The books I wrote 5 books. Are they all going to be important in 1,000 years from now? Or are they just going to laugh? You know, people shy away from the truth no matter what it is. Anything. Especially in a relationship, when it comes to truth, when it comes to dealing with your children, it comes to lies. You know, we're so programmed over and over by everybody. The truth is the farthest thing from our reality. So what you say you believe is what? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in death? Do you believe in religion? Do you believe in anything? You know, what's taken over the world by a program called universal energy, universal consciousness. All right. It means giving yourself up to an energy beyond you. Then why would, if there was a God, which there is, why would it create that? Why would it give us the ability to have free will? We have free will to do almost anything in this reality on planet Earth in the physical plane. But it's not the most important plane. This is really hell. It doesn't get worse than this, people. I can go into a whole show about that if you want to know the truth. You can kill people. You can hurt people. You can see things, feel things. In your astral body, which is what you are when you leave this physical body, doesn't have those feelings. It can't be killed, can't be burnt, can't be cut in half, can't be shot at. So it's such a different reality that most people will never get in touch with because they're so ingrained with the passions and the lust and the greed and money and all those things that keep mankind here. I call them the 5 passions of the mind. The one path that I studied said, all right, they gave them words. All right, but I changed them to what really relate to what they are. Okay, when you talk about life, what's the most important thing? Drinking and drugs, partying, cheap sex, cheap thrills, all right, money. So where does that get a person? Nowhere. Where does that fit into being aware of being? Now, all these people coming out and saying we're aware. We're aware of what? We're got more abilities. No, you don't. Not in physical reality. Not no more. I'll tell you this, the story. Atlantis, the beings and the people that lived there, including we all had, there's called 32 psychic abilities, which put you to ascension. No other way do you get it. But these people that lived there live with clairvoyancy and all those words that you hear. Telepathy, all right, mind power, astral projection, soul travel, all right, even the idea of levitation. They all existed. We all had that ability. But one thing, we weren't cannibals. We didn't eat animals. We didn't kill each other. You could read and know what everybody's thinking. So you wouldn't say, oh, I'm going to sneak up and steal his this. You couldn't. It was we were all aware of each other, respected each other. But something happened and took that away. Atlantis was destroyed. There were 9 races. 5 left before it was destroyed. The four races that were here, the few that survived, became programmed. Programmed, meaning let's kill, let's eat animals, let's kill women, torture children, and all those words. It became a perversion, but it wasn't a natural thing within soul or yourself. It was fed to us. All right. Being fed to us by being programmed by it. Now, when you watch a show like Ancient Aliens, been on what, 16 years, and they still talk like maybe the pyramids were built by aliens. Maybe. And then they always say they believe, the people that do the show and talk on the show, believe. They believe. Belief means you accept something that's not provable, real, or honestly true to you. I am 100% sure and aware and truly know aliens exist. Bigfoot exists. Demons exist. Angels exist. All these shows proving spirits are real and active here now. Technology helps with that, but doesn't matter because when they play with these spirits and stuff, they're not doing anything important. Any spirit that's trapped here is just that, trapped here. When a soul doesn't go into the next realm, it's trapped in this reality. In its own reality, it might think it's a superhero for its family or whatever, but it can't do anything. Oh my God, my angel, my mother told me this, my father told me this. You know, we create ideas from energy of people's programmed ideas, and it becomes a reality in our mind. I'll tell you this. From facts, I've been in this world, the UFO world, spiritual world, death, everything, you name it, all my life. When people say they had a past life experience, okay, you can prove it. There's multiple ways to prove your experience was real. But when you have a death experience, oh, I met Jesus, I met God, I met my mother, I met my father. Now, I'll tell you straight out, 90% or even more are delusional because the mind can only perceive what it was programmed to understand. When you go beyond that, your mind changes because your mind can't tell you Bigfoot doesn't exist no more, that angels aren't real, that this isn't real, that. But it's all based on programming. Your father, your mother, your preacher, your minister, your rabbi, whatever, your friends, how many of them have a clue to what God is? How did I get that on my face? Basically, we're dealing in a society that's technical, not spiritual, unaware, programmed fools. Why, after 100,000 years, the highest number of child incest abuse, child sales, women abuse, sexual abuse, is the highest it has ever been? Sure, there's more people, but it's escalating daily. And it's not because people are coming across the border. We can go into that because Mr. Rumpo is the biggest fool I ever met. Will ever hope that does not see and hope he doesn't become president. Because if he does, the world will be screwed. He said he will be a dictator. Do you know what a dictator is? And in his warped, perverted, twisted mind, he will control everything you do, take away the things you really need, and say he's helping mankind. Just as he became friends with Mr. Musk, who I'm writing letters to every single day. Because he's become partners with Trumpo when if Trump gets elected. Why? You know, the government pays Mr. Musk money to do all his space garbage. Funds him. He's the richest person on the planet, and they got to fund him to do something. Does that make any sense? If you know he's not a spiritual person, it makes a lot of sense. If he was a spiritual person, that couldn't happen. And now he just released a video, and they put it on the news and everything else. He met Jesus. All right, now, just as Mr. Trumpo has pictures of angels in back of him and things like that, they have no clue what they're creating. Their simple word is called karma. But karma goes beyond lifetime and lifetime and lifetime. You're allowed to make as much karma as you want in this lifetime, because you're going to come back and pay for it. And while you come back next time, you'll probably be making more. So guess what? You're never going to get to the higher realms which soul is supposed to be going to. If it touches it, if it ever experiences it, you'll want to go that way, not come back here. There's no reason to come back. Oh, my family. Well, reincarnation means you come back over and over. And souls do it for hundreds of times. Do you know how many families you had in all that time frame? How many children you had? Then think about how many times you might have killed somebody, hurt somebody, abused somebody. Think why you're still here. This is the last time I'll be here unless I kill somebody intentionally. Then I will be forced to come back. All right, karma's got a lot of laws. Now, in the Bible, the Christian Bible, they want to pin everything on Jesus. He's going to forgive us. He's taken our sins and all that. He didn't come here for that, people. That's the most asinine, man-controlled idea ever created. But people, he died on the cross for my sins. You're still doing them. Why did he die on the cross for your sins that you're going to keep doing? When he worked with people, and I'll get into that a little bit later if there's time. When he worked with people, he said, go out and sin no more. Go out and sin no more. And how did the Catholics relate to that? Come back next week and ask for forgiveness. Well, I'm going to kill somebody today. I'll ask forgiveness, say 10,000 Hail Marys, come back and do it again. No. If people followed what Jesus said, the world would be an incredible place right now. People, after Jesus was killed, all his disciples were leaving his path. One person saved reality, and her name was Mary Magdalene. She had to finish teaching the disciples what they didn't know. Jesus was killed in the middle of his teachings. Sorry about that. But he couldn't finish because he was no longer here. And the only way, people, Jesus could prove what he was teaching. You can't teach something if you can't prove it. If they can't experience it, it's useless to them. So what did he do? He came back. Now, that's called, what is it called to you, people? What do you believe it is? Well, he was he was God? No, he said, and very much in the Bible is twisted or taken out or not even put in it, because, it shows the truth, and the people that created the Bible didn't want the truth out. We'll get into Moses as well. The Bible was written for control only. But Jesus came here, started a teaching, and was killed because he was giving a teaching. Not because he was a good person, not because he was healing people, not because of good things, because the bad people in control of this planet didn't want to hear that. The same when aliens came down and reprogrammed humans. They didn't want this world to be a good place. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in compassion. Those words don't exist for these beings or entities. Going back to the first religion, which was Hinduism, after animal worship, they were worshiping deities. You must have heard of Shiva, probably the most famous one among people that don't follow religion. Durga, Kali, Queen Tara, the most important deities out of them all. But the stories around it. Hinduism has two different side stories of Shiva. One, he gets his head cut off by Durga when they're having sex. The other one, he destroyed half of the country.
Started yet?
Yes. So here's the thing. When it goes down, all right, when they were here, Hinduism was created out of sex. Kundalini energy and all those words they created. It was all about sex. The deities fought. And had teachings and fought over that because of what sex was going on. You know what? I'm not going to get into the whole teachings of Shiva, but the phallic symbol in the church and all that in those time frames were critical. A woman had to give their virginity to Shiva. But it became worse because the deities started fighting. I mean, they're not God, never were. But when you follow something like that, you'll never see the truth. Now, entities were allowed to come into this reality, and they're escalating more and more because of Mr. Tesla. But I'm not going to get into that in detail. But we have more negative energy entities, creatures, beings on this planet than ever in history. They all have their own little mission. And it's not like saying, well, there's good and bad aliens. It's like saying, there's good and bad tigers, there's good and bad dogs. Well, it's what they're programmed to be, not what they are. Few creatures eat their babies and things like that. Not all of them. Most of them protect them. Even a chicken will defend their little chicks with their life. I don't know why they say your chicken. They should call you a rooster because the rooster runs away. It's the female that stays there and fights. And among all the creatures in the jungle, the woman's the warrior. The native nation, the woman's the most powerful as far as decisions. But mankind, with ego, which came out of money, causes the destruction to the planet. But that's based on religion. Religion's a program. Has nothing to do with God, nothing to do with the truth. Love and light is the answer. It's not the answer for anything. The sun doesn't come up, you'll be missing light. All right, if the sun stays up, you'll be missing darkness. People, you're following a world that's taking you deeper, deeper into nowhere. And we're going to feel it, even if Trump doesn't get in. Because there's a word, I'm going to say it, and you really need to check it out. UN Agenda -30. What it is, it's in place. 192 countries around the world agree that's what we're going to have. And we're moving into it. By 2030, we will be one world order. You know how many presidents mentioned that? 9 in our time frame that said that we should have one world order. I mean, it sounds great, but who's that one person controlling the world? Not a human. No human even has the ability to do that. Never mind think what people want or care about. You know, like Trump, he has no awareness. He never was in the army, never fought, never stood on a battleground. All right, when people talk about things, they have no clue. Like when he has an angel in back of him. Oh, he can't even recite the Lord's Prayer and knows what it really means. What a contradictory to religion, people. I don't care. Well, he did. It's not about food and money. Kamala will make sure that all changes. I promise that. I know it will. If she gets in, the world will become better, in the United States at least. Other countries are horrible. 10 times worse than what we are right now. But if you want to believe people like Trump, who's a mass liar, who was just video recorded giving money to people in the store. That's called bribery. A candidate cannot bribe a person. It's against the standards or the laws of it. I mean, Trump's going to say, whoa, everything's AI. When he was with Epstein, all right, and all those years went down, when he was friends with Hugh Hefner, all those years went down, he's going to lie. How did he meet his wife? What was his wife doing? What was he into? Why did he go to the Playboy Club? Why was his picture on the head cover of Playboy magazine? Why was all these things going on? Why were the pictures and videos of him with Epstein and his wife and all those things? And now Trump says he's going to release the list? See, you know, we're programmed by what we hear. I was a hypnotist I started when I was 12, but I actually started hypnotizing all my friends at 14. By the time I was 20, I was doing past life regression, psychic implant removals. All right. But in that, I learned a lot. I studied with an army hypnotist when I was 18. I worked with Kreskin when I was 12. So I learned it really fast at a young age. Kreskin used the word what Hitler used. He goes, Hitler controlled his people by the power of suggestion. The power of suggestion called programming, not hypnosis. Hypnosis is really basically programming. So when he said that Hitler controlled his country. How? You say things over and over. If you hear Trump say things a million times, you're going to believe it, true or not, lies or not. The mind gets programmed. And it takes about 15 to 30 days to program the subconscious mind. Not one day. You can't do it in a day. To get rid of a program in your mind takes just as long. To clean a memory out of the brain takes a pretty long time. What you need to do, and you should do, if you even have a clue, does anyone telling you how to clean out your brain of the garbage that you have in it? I know Sarah Harriman, no, wrong person, Drummer of Melchizedek, said he was working with a person that could strip a prisoner's mind so they could go back out into the real world. Does that mean they're making them a zombie? Let's reprogram them. Let's reprogram them. Since most people are programmed. So people, if you listen to this, I know you're not going to listen long because you don't want the truth. You don't want to hear anything that's not inside your little square box that you live in. Oh, Trump's a good person. Oh, Kamala's a bad person. Oh, this or that or the other thing. Really? Do you know them? Did you ever have dinner with them? Did you ever go out to dinner with them? Hang out with them for a day? See what kind of person they really are? Trump is check his record. He's out for publicity and money. Nothing else. He tried to be with every famous person out there. What did he do? Nothing. I lived in Jersey most of my life, and every other month his name was being mentioned of what he was doing and what he was doing wrong and all those kind of things. You don't want a person that's on a criminal list. You don't want a person that's evil inside. And when you have an evil person with children, what happens to their children? They get programmed. His own son is going out into the world. The two sons go together, but one of them brags about killing endangered species animals. To me, that's one of the most perverted things that a person can do in this reality. Life and survival is one thing, but going out with a gun, even a bow and arrow, against a creature that can't do anything. I tell people that, like, I had a friend that was not a friend, but a person I knew that was a hunter, and he used to go hunting for bears with this big barrel gun with these bullets in it. I said, go out there with a knife. Let's see who wins. You know, we don't even abide by spiritual laws at any level. We make our own make-believe laws up as we move along. Even the Pope is trying to change the Constitution of religion, to me, is what I would call it. Saying the Ten Commandments, he wants to rearrange two of them. Saying a lot of the teachings in Christianity is wrong. I say, if he wants to make a new religion, make it. Don't destroy a religion that has a foundation, at least, to a person that's very evil, doesn't care about anything, and he's even getting involved with trying to tell people who to vote for. Not that he doesn't have the right to do it, but he's talking about things that women's rights are and that he doesn't agree with. People, are you watching? Are you listening? Or are you just mind programmed? All right, people. Anybody that listens to this, please send this link to everybody. I put it on Musk's site. I put it on everybody's site already. All right. But, you know, YouTube likes to take my videos down. I don't know how long it's going to stay up. They just took one of my videos down from like 4 or 5 months ago. Maybe they're not on top of it fast enough because I just did a video about 4 days ago, and I'm surprised it's still up. But I'm moving all my videos to Brighteon and trying to figure out to get more publicity on that site. YouTube, I have hundreds of videos up. All right. I've been doing a UFO show for 3 years. We kind of stopped. My co-host going through major problems. The most important person publicly in the UFO world, who I was doing a show with for 3 years, has serious problems. 1, she's radioactive. 2, she's very sickly. And serious, her family's dying every which way. So she had to pull out for a while. But we're going to be doing it again. But right now, I'm going to go back into spiritual ideas and truth and teachings. Not that people care. If people cared, I have a lot more people following. But the second you mention religion, oh, I don't want to hear his ideas. Will you rather listen to a Bible that was written by a bunch of people that had no clue who God was, no clue who Jesus was? Now, if you're following the Bible, people, I mean, I know you heard Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and all the names and stuff like that. The four people in the New Testament, only two of them were Jesus' disciples. Two of them were evangelists, meaning they followed a disciple. One of Jesus' disciples, never met Jesus in a physical body. He met with him in a vision. Truthfully, they all met with him in a vision. But that's besides the point, people. We're talking about what people believe in the Bible. If you read it intensely, which I did, you'll see the contradictories because one's plagiarizing what the other one said. No two people could write the same thing word for word. First off. Second off, saying the exact same thing. Nobody can experience the same thing the same way. You could ask 100 people to describe love, and not one of them is going to be 100% match with somebody else. Oh, yeah, I love them. They love me. That's all they care about. What does it mean? And nobody knows what love means, really. The world would have never gotten this way. All right. They say Jesus taught love. You can't teach love. Like I was saying about children, they're ingrained with it when they're born. And it's taken away. A child's love is pure. But as it gets programmed, the little wrinkles get put in the brain that make it into something different. So programming is the worst thing happening every which way, everywhere. School in general, in my viewpoint, is about 95% useless. What do you learn? How to live life, how to be a family, how to be a person, how to be real. Anything about death, anything about any of the things that are going to happen to you. Well, do you need to know the world if you're not going to go anywhere except your own little town? Doesn't matter where China is or Russia is or Germany is. Who's a president, vice president, who's this, who's that? Does any of that matter if you're going to sit there and play tiddlywinks or checkers or what all your life? You need to know what you need to know when you do what you're going to do that pertains to that. You're going to go to another country that speaks a language. Maybe you should learn a little bit about that language. But you're not going to go to all these countries. So should you learn 20 languages? Some people learn 6 languages, but they're going to travel to those countries. Programming means you're being programmed to be what you are right now, a fool for government. Government wasn't created for poor or middle class people. And people don't even understand that. The electoral vote is evil, people. It was created so the rich assholes could stop poor people from voting. And they had the right to pick the president, and the poor people didn't. Now, let's go back to that time frame, people. George Washington and Jefferson, 2 presidents, probably the most evil. If you look at Mount Rushmore, those people are the biggest Native American killers in the United States. George Washington, at the time he would give an order not to kill a tribe, gave the order to kill 2 other tribes. Jefferson rode across the southern part of the United States, killing every tribe he could. And they're the people that created the Constitution. Jefferson created the word freedom. For who? White, rich assholes. And then he broke it down. Look at how long it took to get women's right to vote. Do you know what year it was brought and created? I'm not even going to tell you. Look it up. You'll be mind-boggled how long it took for that to happen. Men always were egotistical, evil beings, thinking they're better than women. Always. For 100,000 years. How many famous women are in the history of our history that you know about? Maybe Joan of Arc? I mean, queens became that and things like that, but that wasn't really anything important to a battle, to a country. But really, Joan of Arc was a leader, fought in the name of God. How many people can say that? in the United States, we say we fight for our country. Well, we're not fighting for our country if we're killing people in another country. When they attack us, we're fighting for our country. But if they're attacking each other, we got to kill them too. You know, morals do not exist. They used to when I was little. At least they were mentioned, not that everybody followed them. But when we became programmed over and over with sick, pathetic ideas, all right, what happened? We lose who we are. Science, on the other hand, is taking us deeper and deeper into a black hole. They still can't prove the Big Bang Theory, black hole. Months ago, they came out and said a black hole is not a black hole. But you still got people saying, well, a black hole is a black hole. You know, it's pathetic where we go in science. We have the technology to feed the world, all right, for one. We don't need more energy. We have enough of it right now. And then the drug company, which controls most of the world, feeding everybody poison. Oh, well, I said something that'll take my show off the air. All right. But the problem is, if you read the label of any medicine or listen to the commercial, it will even say may cause death. May cause death. And they're selling it legally. People, we are so brainwashed to believe certain things. Well, this will cure one disease, while it'll give you 100 others. Oh, that's okay. You know, we came so far off the main course of life. Now, and I can only tell you, way back in Atlantis, life was the Garden of Eden. We lived on fruits and vegetables. We didn't eat animals and things like that. You know, a lot of creatures were brought here from other realms, like humans were. We weren't hatched here. We didn't come off a meteorite and populate into humans. Hold on, let me just see what that was. I can't figure out how to get there. Well, so here's the thing. You have a choice in life to try to live without creating karma or live creating karma. Trying to live without creating karma, you need to start searching out what an idea of a real God would be. Not what people say it is, but what would it really be? What does it mean to you? Most people don't believe in God. Oh, the universe is God. No, it's not. This is a physical world, physical reality. The hardest, coarse, densest universe out of all the multiverses that we can go to. When you first leave your body, you go into your astral body. If you're lucky enough to get into the astral plane, you'll have a new experience. You'll understand a different reality that the mind does not know. And if you don't get there, you're going to come back and say, well, I met Peter, and he told me that I should not go here. Blah, blah, blah. It's not about here. Jesus didn't come to teach us how to stay on planet Earth. His teachings were to get out of this realm. You know, when God created life, multiple lives, then there's all kinds of alien life forms out there. Each are limited. And we have the most awareness out of all of them, people. Technology is not an awareness. It's another program. Thinking you can make something better. All our food, all our vegetables and fruits were 100% better 50 years ago. All of it. They're down to 25% of what they used to have. Our water is contagious, toxic. Our air is toxic. All right? We've got people like Musk saying, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. His technology and what he's creating has nothing to do with the God, even though he put a video up and talking about meeting Jesus. People with money are the biggest liars on the planet, biggest egotistical maniacs that exist. They don't care about poor people. They don't care about sick people, and they don't care about middle-class people. Only if it's their grandmother, their grandfather, or their child. Sure not yours or mine. Every day I write to Musk, Take one day, or 1 week, or 1 month, and not send a couple ships up and feed the homeless people. Build a children's home in every state, and it wouldn't affect his paycheck or his money. The government's paying for all his space program stuff, and his main goal is to get to Mars. Well, he's even asking people to do things, and he goes, "You want to be on a ship with me going to Mars?" Why would they want to? There's nothing beneficial out there. Out of the whole universe, people, this is the best it's ever going to get, and we're destroying that. Remember, there's two ways to go: up or down. Up towards God or down to the center of the earth. Nowhere meaning stay here, be stuck here. Rather than experience free energy, free ability, when you let go of this body, what you are is incredible. But basically, that depends on what karma you create. Because when you create karma, means you have to come back to this reality, means you have to take on a body again. And I'm telling you right now, your time frame when you die is anywhere from 5 to 10 years, usually. Meaning, if you think you're going to come back to your family, you'll be a grandson or grandchild, whatever you want to call it. But you're not going to be able to help them. Oh, my baby does what my grandfather used to do. Oh, my baby does this. Yeah, but is that going to help you really? And why? Because he didn't get to stay in the higher realm. This is hell. Nothing good's going on here. We haven't created one spiritual thing in 100 years. Why is that? We're creating spaceships. Our spaceship will be released within a year. The most deadliest weapon on the planet. It'll make the United States #1 again. Trump's probably going to take credit for that, but he didn't create it. It wasn't created because of him in any way. Putin actually said things to Trump that Trump didn't do. Putin talked to Trump about aliens, really. He put it on Russian TV. He knew Trump was going to be elected president. 3 months before Trump was elected, he told Trump what he wanted him to do. Then when he met him, what did Trump do? Create the Space Force in his own mind. People, you follow stories, you follow what you hear. None of it's true or really important to who and what you are. All right, picket lines and protesting is a good thing, in a good way. I marched with 2,000 people, 50 native people, and the rest were mixed tribal people from Central Park, the village, all the way up to the UN. And when we were walking the street. The police blocked the roads off and everything while we got there. When we got there, in front of the UN, and I'm talking many years ago, I have a few pictures of it if you don't believe me, we were surrounded by FEMA and the government people with machine guns. The whole square block of the UN was surrounded, arm to arm, by police. And there was only 2,000 of us doing a peaceful march. We weren't allowed to carry anything except paper signs, paper sticks and everything, but we weren't allowed to carry anything, backpacks and things like that, no. All right, so how did it change so much? And basically, we had to go to court and say we're going to march when and where and how. So the government knows what's going to happen. But when you do it without telling them, it is against the law. People, we move so far away from morals and the truth, and we follow these petty little ideas of what we can do, what we think we can do and get away with. But then again, we got people in government that do not care about you. When Trump gets in, if he gets in, will be the most saddest day in our history. The saddest day. Not the happiest day, the best day. You bring in a dictator into our reality who thinks people coming into our country are evil and bad. All of them. People, you need to go back in history. 25 years. You know the people trying to get crossing the border? Thousands died weekly trying to get there, women and children. These cars would say, we'll take you to the border. And they take these people's money, put them in a truck, and drive them halfway into the desert and drop them off. And these people tried to get to the border. Many of them died daily. My brother's son worked on a border patrol and heard the stories of how many bodies and this, that, and the other thing. Are they all bad people that are murderers and criminals trying to get into the United States? Are all people coming here bad? Well, who did Christopher Columbus bring to the United States? Well, to whatever island he went to. Who came into the United States? Gold diggers. Fighting over each other, killing each other for gold. Tearing apart the native tribes and everything else along the way. People, what's a good person? Somebody that can't kill somebody else. All right? That's a good person. When you go to war, you're going to kill somebody because somebody told you to go kill somebody. That's called programming. Now, when Vietnam War happened, I wasn't in. My brother had to go in. But guess what? People went up to Canada. Oh, they're traitors. They're this, they're that. Well, finally, after a couple of years, they were allowed back in. There were people that believed that they had no right to kill another person. And the one incredible story in the Army, one person went in, refused to carry a gun, and they did everything to him. And this is a real story. Watch it. It's incredible what they did to him to try to stop him from becoming what he was, a good person. He was famed by saving all these people. I think it was over 50 people on the battlefield, going back and forth, pulling these bodies and bringing them back in and everything else without a gun on him. But the abuse he took before he even got there from the people he was with, his platoon and everybody around him, attacking him and doing things to him, telling him he should leave, and they don't want him to watch their back and all that kind of stuff. But he became one of the most important heroes in our Army history. People, we believe guns are important. Trump's saying it's the right thing. Ask 100 people why they need to have a machine gun. Shoot target? In case what? The Army attacks his house? Think about it, people. Why would you need a rapid-fire machine gun? You got to break into your house. You're going to have to shoot the whole house down to get them? And there's better weapons than guns right now anyway that wouldn't kill somebody. Because if you kill somebody, your karma is going to make sure you don't get to heaven. That's for sure. No matter what the Catholic people say and other people believe, you can't be forgiven for karma. You have to pay it back. And the only place you pay karma back is here on this planet. When you get to stay in the astral plane, you're free of all the karma that you created here. And it's incredible. But it gets much more credible when you go past the astral plane. But when you go from here to there, you'll stay there for a super long time. Because it's like 1,000 times better than being here. But imagine getting 1,000 times better than being there. It just gets better, people. What Jesus was teaching was getting closer to God. And if you don't experience that, you'll never understand what Jesus was even trying to teach. But as long as we believe guns are our answer, for what? Love and light's the solution. What does it help? Marriages are breaking up more than ever in history as well. If people understood love, why would they marry somebody to divorce them? To marry somebody else to divorce them? Why would they go on and on? It took me my whole lifetime to understand the true reason why I came back. I didn't have to. I chose to for a reason. But through the person I'm with now, I learned and found all the answers of life, death, and everything else in between. But it's funny. I live with a person that doesn't believe in God. Buddha never taught about God. And there was 28 Buddhas. And all the New Age religions now don't talk about God. Universal energy. We have the ability to do what? Fly? I mean, name one person on this planet that could levitate a mountain right now. All right. I'm going to say some things which will be true. I was a a high priest, sorry. They associate that with black magic and everything else. But a high priest of white magic. There's black and white magic. White magic means healing, helping. Black magic means killing, destroying. Black magicians. You know who was one of the most powerful magicians that ever lived in our history? I know people are going to object to it, but you know who was? Moses. All right. You can't kill people in the name of God. Moses did a lot of things in the name of God. When he was taking these people out, how many people in that village and country and town and city and all those places did he actually and was responsible for killing? I mean, you can believe science, and they say, well, there was things actually happening that caused each one of the miracles and whatever you want to call them, disasters. But they happened, all in a time to make something happen. Even when the gas rode across the ground, killing all the children, it's because children slept on the ground. The adults slept on the top part of the house. So sure, the children are going to die, but people. The frogs came out of the water because it was contaminated with blood, and they say rust and things, whatever, and that's what made them jump out of the water. I mean, the government can always say something ridiculous, and people will believe it. But then again, if you were there, if you learn how to do and become aware of past lives, you can learn things for yourself, and you don't need somebody else telling you, oh, this is the truth, this is the truth, that's the truth. No, it's not. Nobody out there mainstream is telling the truth. Look at Snowden. He tried to bring truth out. Where's he? What's he doing now? He doesn't know anything about a lot of the important truth, like aliens and stuff, what the government's really doing. And obviously he says it's fake. Everybody says it's fake because they don't know any better. Trump has no clue. Well, I do. I did. MJ-12 is real. And if you watch Men in Black, when he says only the president only gets to know in an emergency situation where he has to know. And that's the truth. Any president has no, except Truman and Eisenhower, have a clue what the government was doing with aliens and alien technology. All right. When you see the ship we release next year, you're going to be mind-boggled. It's incredible. It has every weapon known to man on it. And weapons that people don't know about because a directed energy beam was created by Tesla, not by anybody else. And it's one of the most deadliest weapons on the planet right now. But we have other things that government and people are already playing with. It's called weather warfare. It's easy. I can go into that, but I'm not. We don't have time to do that. The truth is, you're programmed. You listen to Trump one more day, you'll be more programmed. Listen to him for the next couple weeks, you'll be super programmed. Kamala is starting to put ads everywhere and everything else, but she's putting what she feels is right, and it is right. Big difference. Look at Trump's video of him paying a person in the store, giving him money. Listen to what he says. He attacks people with anger and hate. And he says he's religious or pretends he is. Do you know what working under God means? Like I said, if you can't recite the Lord's Prayer and respect what it says, you're not that part of what you call yourself. I don't say I'm religious. Not that I go around killing people, beating people, and doing all those things. But I believe in truth. And religions don't have it. They don't talk about a real God. They talk about a man that sits on a cloud protecting everybody. God's not that. And all these Christians, well, he protects me. Jesus protects me. No, it doesn't. Did your son just get hit by a car and die? Did your house just get blown up? And all these things happening? What do you call protection? Well, protection, probably where they took it from, which they couldn't understand, is that your soul is protected. When your body dies, soul lives on. It's eternal. That's called protection. God protects soul. But it doesn't get closer to God until it purifies itself. Each soul's here for itself, not for their children. Because what if you don't get married, don't have children? You're not here for a reason, like one of the people running for presidency said? Oh, you're a useless being? What if we didn't have so many children? The world would be incredible. There wouldn't be so many homeless, starving children everywhere. but the morals have been deteriorated and everything else, so parents don't care as much. They'd rather put their son in front of a computer all day than take him out to the park and play with him. Hold on, let me see. I can't move the screen. I don't know what to do here. Hold on. I don't know what that says. I think I'm getting closer to doing what I need to do. Okay. Nobody's leaving comments. That's fine. You know, when you're dealing with truth, how many people have something to say against it? Can you go against the truth? I challenge anybody. I'll debate any person on this planet, and I would love to debate the Pope, the Dalai Lama, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra. I've been trying to get in touch with Oprah for 25 years, and that's a useless case. But the only thing I care about her right now is she's supporting Kamala. She's a Republican. She's not a Democrat. And she's full out promoting her. She had her on her show even. Well, all the bad things have to be raised because she did that. And that's one little step that'll help her with her own karma. Even though she says she has no karma, she has no ego. Because Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle programmed her. Programming people, who you hang with, who you work with, who you believe, is just programming you. If you can't experience death, you don't know what it means. If you can't experience out-of-body experiences, you don't know what it means or feels like. Things you should know. Reading a person's aura is simple, beneficial. And you should be able to do that if you need to. I don't do it because there's very few souls that have any light around them. Oh, you're a light being. No, you're not. You can tell yourself whatever you want. You're programming your own self to believe your own programmed ideas. What's a good person? Well, if there's a homeless person, I give him a donut. A homeless person fell on the ground, I pick him up. That makes you a good person? What's a good person? Do you know anything about God? Why you're here? What you're going to do to get out of here? Well, I'll die when I have to. I had 5 death experiences, people. Each one of them showed me much more and more of the inner worlds, God, death, and life. Not about making money, not about lying. I could be one of the richest people on the planet if I was a liar. It's easy. Tell people what they want to hear. Anything they want to hear, tell them that, and they'll believe you, and they'll want you, or give you money, whatever. I can't do that. 98% of the people on this planet are clueless to a real God, clueless to the reason why they're here. Well, I'm here to have children. Really? How many? Should you have 10? Should you have 100? What kind of numbers do you keep? In the Catholic religion, they say, oh, you're supposed to have 2 or 3 at least. And you can't get married unless you say that to the priest. I had to do it for my brother. I told my brother, I said, you don't want no children. He said, no, you couldn't say that. I said, no, I'm only kidding. But morals are not even here. Morals of a relationship. What are your responsibilities when you create a relationship? What are your responsibilities to your own children that you created and brought into this reality? Respect of life and death is critical. And until mankind learns to respect their own children, guess what? We're in trouble. I had a lot of things going on before the show started. I hope it's okay. I'll find out when I go to check it and see if it went up. But I joined X again. They took away my membership and made me redo everything. I'm paying for it and I'm repaying for it. And I'm still not in premium because they have to analyze you before they'll let you become a premium member. But Musk says free will. Even though I say things to him every day, and Mr. Trump. All right? I'm a realist. I believe in the truth only. God only. Nothing else. Nothing else is as important. Well, I got to feed my cat. I got to feed my dog. Yeah, well, that's important while I'm here, while I'm sitting in my room and things like that. But I'm just making sure I pay off my karma. I'm on my 5th book. My newest book is For Women Only, Understanding a Man's Ego. It's important for every woman to read it because it'll help them understand men how to live life and how not to be, which most women accept to be. And it's only to please men in their twisted, sick ego. Look at Trump. All the lies and deceit he's putting out there, covering up all the things he did. How has he got away with everything all the time? How did he not go to war like every other president? Because I can't even say some of the words. They just bother me so much. But when you have no balls, you walk around that way. So I live my life the best I can. I got my own problems. We all do. But I'm looking forward to the day I can leave this body. Because I'm going to a better place. And if you're a good person, you go to a better place. And that's not cursing God out every day either. I'm saying F this and F that doesn't help you spiritually grow at all. All right. I wasn't going to go this long, but I'm going to. All right. For people that come back or have the courage to listen to a little bit of truth. I'm going to go into something a little more critical. Moses talked about the burning bush. I shot one myself, for real. I was in the mountains in California, and I'm walking through the jungle, in the mountains, whatever you want to call it. And there it was. I also came face to face to a wolf. We both popped up on a big rock. He was on one side and I was on the other. He went running one way, I went running the other. Big black wolf. But again, when I shot the burning bush, it's on a lot of my videos, the cover. All right. But when Moses talks about the burning bush as God, and he heard the voice, God doesn't speak to humans in a voice. But, he made his own story. He wrote, a half of the Bible, the Old Testament? Who was he? A man. Did men tell the truth much? No. Might get a few lines of truth here and there. All right. I'm going to try to skip all these things I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to go into this. You probably won't want to listen. It's called the Ten Commandments. All right. People say they're outdated. Outdating the truth is like saying outdating life. We're not useful here. We're not. But again, the Ten Commandments didn't hurt people. But if you believe what Moses did, it did. When you believe that he created 63 laws. And all those laws, all right, all those laws are ridiculous. Not the Ten Commandments, because he really didn't write them, but he wrote them down for what happened. But who was he really working with when he wrote them? Okay, I'm going to go through them as fast as I can, people. And I know people are leaving because they don't want to even hear it. But if you're a Christian, you should listen. Have no other God before you, meaning there is only one real God that you should deal with. All also called deities, which all religions worship in the beginning. People don't even know what a deity is. They were not gods. They did nothing for the humanity of the human race ever. I mean, the earliest word for God, we can go into the codex and things like that, but it doesn't matter. They didn't know much about a God or have any truth about a God. Not that Moses was talking to God much, if he ever did. Angels impart wisdom, but they are not teachers. All right, they always brought a way to stop a disaster, whether the people followed that or not. We know the ones that did, like Noah, Sodom and Gomorrah, those stories. But if they didn't listen, what would have happened? All right. Like I said, they're here to give us warnings to stop things from happening. Most psychics don't do that. They'll tell you something happens, and it happens. Nostradamus was a great psychic. He predicted all the things that were going to happen. but he didn't stop them either. And an angel does stop them. They find the right soul to talk to, communicate with, and help them achieve it. Humans' brains is just like a computer. It's sprinkled and wrinkled and wrinkled. More programs that go inside it, the more programmed his brain becomes, the more or less he becomes human. And the brain runs on those computerized lies. All right. Number 2, no false images of God. No statues, no pictures of anything above or below the earth. So that means like we don't have angels running around in the earth and things like that, but it meant no matter where you get your truth from, you're not going to be able to bring it out to the real world what it really is. And that's a fact. Who to this day proves what God is, looks like, and is. I can tell you, but it's only my viewpoint, what I know. And I wouldn't start to draw it or try to make statues of it. No. Now, Muhammad was told by his brother that he was working with Gabriel. How would his brother know who he's working with? You know, stories are just that. The people that accept them become part of the programming. The more people that accept something becomes a reality. And that's how laws are created, by programmed people. Men can control that allow certain laws to become real. Men created 99% of all the laws on the books up until rather recently. So you think they're going to create a lot more laws for women? Of course not. Now it could change. I mean, after Bill Cosby got arrested, there was, 12 women that went around to about 13 states and actually changed the law in those states. So, you know, when you say you're nobody, you can't do anything, you could always do something. I mean, it's really hard to find the right place to fit in to do something, but you can. I mean, I tried to do a show, but I realized more and more people do not want to hear anything pertaining to the truth. Now, this is something people, whoever comes in, listens, and gets this far, never use God's name in vain. 98% of the people on the planet do. Why is that? Do they understand the benefits and the results or the outcome of what that causes in their life? There's no benefits. What it does is destroy your connection to truth and God. I know when you're mad at your mother or father, you may curse them out. I learned not to curse when I was little. I said, hell, something. Soap was put in my mouth. I never cursed after that. And now you can't do anything to your child. He's got to be a bad little boy, and you can't do a thing about it. You can't punish him, you can't hit him, and all those words. My life was the opposite. I was beat all the time. So, you know, we changed a lot in some ways. Now, there's a big video on TV right now about a person whacking her dog a couple times because she ran away. And they're trying to find who she is and trying to press charges against her. You know, when they pick up a baby calf, throw it in this thing, they put it in a little ball for the length of its life, and it doesn't move. And they take that, put it on a truck, drive it to the slaughterhouse, kill it, and make veal. And people eat that veal. When you eat that, you're eating what happened to that poor little creature. Never had the chance to be free in any way. And it was a baby when it was slaughtered. That's the kind of humans that we have on this planet today. All right, other countries, it's sad, disastrous. They do eat cats and dogs in other countries. They eat everything. On this planet, in some country, everything that moves on this planet is eaten. Everything. Worms, spiders, you name it. So, you know, our morals are different here than most other countries. And they're better than most countries, but they're not the best or what they could be. All right. When you go out and curse people out, is one thing. But when you curse God out, you should think about the consequences of that. In the Bible, in Revelations, John talks about it, people. Read it. If you're a Christian and you curse a lot, think about what you're creating for yourself. Now these people following, New Age preachers, teachers, whatever. Universal energy. What do you think you're going to get out of that? I'm free. You're free? Can you get in your car and drive 100 miles an hour? Yes, but or you get caught, what happens? You're free to do things if nobody else catches you doing it. There are laws which control this planet. They're not just. Very few are just laws. And it's based on the best lawyer they can get to defend them, which is a crime. Because I'm a good lawyer and you're a bad lawyer, this poor murderer goes to jail. On the opposite end, this mass murderer gets to go out free. A system like that is unjust. But we don't. We have multiple things, and I say this over. We're programmed to believe one thing, whether it's true or not. But truth serum, there's 5 different kinds of truth serum. There's a lie detector test, and there are real psychics. All right, all 3 of them should be used to determine if a person's telling the truth and find out what their lies are. And if a person says, I actually killed them, guess what? They probably did. I mean, truth serum is not a drug that makes people say things that they didn't do. It's not like that, people. It's a real thing. And they don't use it because, men don't want to be forced to tell the truth. That's why it's not used. Men don't do anything that can convict them. So you're programmed to believe one thing while everything else is a lie around it. Well, the fourth is to keep the holy day, the Sabbath day holy. Well, Jesus knew that mankind, supposing Jesus was there before Moses, and I don't want to get into that, but being aware that mankind cannot hold the image of God all day, or all week, or all its life, even though born-again Christians are supposed to think of Jesus every second. Impossible. So, guess what? It's a matter of you telling yourself that you got to put some time into it. And going to church doesn't mean you're putting time in anything. You're just doing a programmed idea. Say a chant, say a prayer, listen to a person speak on something. You're not about God. All right, people. That was the 4th commandment. And it's important that you put your energy into it once in a while. I mean, man's ego about Jesus and all the lies about that. I can go into the Knights of Templar. They rode with Mary Magdalene. She was one of the 2 people that left the country and didn't get killed. Mary Magdalene ended up in France. Thomas ended up in India. All right, they took parts of his teachings. Well, I can't reach it, but I'm not going to anyway. But sorry, I can't reach the phone. I can't shut it off. So it'll stop in a second. Sorry. All right. Mary Magdalene married Jesus, had a daughter. She left the country, but she had the same ability that Jesus had. If she didn't, people, she wouldn't be able to teach the disciples. How can you teach something you don't know? Jesus was one of the few people on this planet ever that went through ascension. Ascension, nobody goes through it, whether they say, I went through ascension. No, you didn't. If you go through ascension, you have 32 psychic abilities. Not one person on this planet can say they're even close to that, or even have one of them at 100%. Mary Magdalene did. She lived a pretty long time, but her daughter took over after she died. But the Knights of Templar created the temples and all those things and fought to protect them and things like that. But you don't hear the truth. But even that has got washed away. The truth behind the Knights of Templar is gone. It's all about love and light and money. Imagine that. Sorry. Well, again, we can believe what we want. Let me just go one more further here. The idea of honoring your mother and father is pretty important. You only get honor and respect when you deserve it, though. If your father's beating you, your mother's beating you, whatever, do they deserve respect? Do they deserve to be honored? You have to realize what Moses wrote was only parts of the things that he was trying to portray. He went deep into the wrong things, but nudity was his worst nightmare. But when he wrote 63 laws, and even the phrase native, they said about native people, and they used the word Indian given. Native people didn't take things back. They gave a gift. When they were given a gift, they always gave a gift back better if they could. But white man's twisted morals programming always made it worse. Man is evil because we allow it to happen. We allow the programming to take over our soul awareness, our true self. Okay, let's go on to number 6. Do not kill anyone intentionally. Self-defense is one thing. Jesus said turn your cheek and things like that. But when it came to killing, you intentionally kill somebody? You think that's right? Think it's moral? I'm not going to go into them too deep, but do not commit an adultery. If you know what that word means, with a male or female, adult or a child, it's still adultery when you do it. And guess what? You're in serious trouble if you do. Not with the government, not with people, with God itself. And then now, do not steal, take things from other people's houses and things like that. Well, did you learn that already? Or you should have. We were taught not to steal. You remember the morals you were taught when you were little, if you're old enough? I mean, yeah, you shouldn't lie, shouldn't steal. But outside of that, how many more morals do you know or remember from that? Probably none. All right. The idea of bearing false witness on anybody to protect yourself, protect somebody else. Let's get somebody else in trouble instead. Spreading lies about people. This is the age where we could be going into purification and we're going the opposite way. Why is that, people? You need to answer for yourself. Now, the desire is just as bad as the action. Do not covet your neighbor's wife, possessions, children, anything like that. Meaning you desire to do it. Desires create energy as well as action. Action hurts people a lot more physically right away than the desire, because the desire can get washed away, taken away easily. And there's ways to get rid of them. If you have ideas like that, get rid of them right away. Don't hold on to them. But 10 Commandments aren't that bad. Well, they sound a little critical here and there, but if you look at them in reality, they're all real. Solid reasons to not do certain things. Going to war is not a solution for killing and making it right. People, morals get blown away, our actions get more intense and increase to the dark side. Killing is the worst, and I say the opposite. I say rape is worse than killing. Killing, you get put in the grave and you go to where you're supposed to go right away. When you get sexually abused, raped, or whatever, you're living a lifetime in that pain and suffering idea. It is the worst because you live with it till the day you die. Anybody, they don't wash it away. It's not forgiven. People, I'm going to end it there. If you watch this video, if you got to this point even, please send it to somebody else. Send it to everybody you know. Even if you don't want it, please do. It might open their mind, open up their hearts, open up reality for them. But what you see, what you believe is a program. What you agree with is a program. Until you can actually experience something, it's not real. I could talk about God for a reason. I could talk about angels for a reason. I could talk about death for a reason. Without a reason, a belief system isn't important. Children believe in Santa Claus, Superman, Batman, Green Hornet, all those kind of people. The Hulk, Bugs Bunny. I mean, you name it. Children believe it. Does it help them? They're a programmed idea. If it was the truth of something, it would help them. You could say something to a child, whether they'll understand it or not. Instead of Google Gaga, say Daddy, I'm Daddy, is better than saying Google, Google, or some dopey ass sentence of saying. Treat them like a real being. Say, I know you hear me. Listen. I'll take care of you. I'll protect you. Tell the child that when it's being in that stage of growing and listening, when it can't even respond to what you're saying. Soul knows what you're saying. Soul's not a baby. Soul's mature. And when you go to the astral plane, you can pick any age you want to be even. Most people pick between 25 and 35 years old there. But here, in a baby, soul's aware. Just because the brain isn't programmed enough to understand anything. With that, people, I'm going to let you go. Hawksblood 1. I'll be doing a UFO special every week real soon again. I'll be doing a spiritual show as well. But it's time to wake up, people. Don't be led by people preaching and saying and telling you lies over and over and then really expect you to believe it. When people want credit or even give themselves a title. All right, I'm a reverend, but I don't use the title much at all. This show I did. I usually don't. You know, people say if you don't have a title, you're nobody. Well, you're a person, and you're just as real as somebody with a title. President, vice president, teacher, doctor, lawyer. They're just words of people trying to help people. Hopefully, it's not just for the money. Football players, what do they get paid so much money for? To entertain people. You know, if God wanted to entertain us, it could. But it doesn't. People, you need to be aware of the truth. And you should never stop trying to find it. Tommy Hawksblood here. Peace, love, passion, whatever you need in your life. Don't stop until you get it. But don't search for the wrong things either. Fame and fortune is not the answer. Love, real love, understand it, find out what it really is more critical than anything else. Relationship love is one thing. God's love is another. Children love is another. And they each have a place, and you need to know what place is where they go. All right, till next time, Tommy Hawksblood. Have a good day, good night. Whatever you're going to do with it, make sure it's the right steps. Because if you start walking the wrong path, it only goes down. Till next time.